Welcome this afternoon to a discussion of the food and beverage, air, water, and energy markets. It's a very complex mix of processes. The market for processing equipment is about $70 billion per year, but air, water, and energy products are about 63 billion. And they include what you see in red here as a portion of the equipment market, but it's much more than the equipment market itself. So what we're talking about here in the $63 billion market are centrifuges, compressors, filters, dust collectors, dryers, ductwork, evaporators, fans, heat exchangers, lots of instrumentation, and we're including what we call our guide and control, and as well as measure, pneumatic conveyors, pumps, valves, scrubbers, and then consumables. Cartridges really are a consumable, as are filter cloths and treatment chemicals. And then, of course, you have repair parts. And it's segmented so that you have some of your applications in the actual processes themselves, but all the utilities, including the electricity, power generation, and so forth, also have air, water, and energy products. And, of course, the waste. And you've got repairs as well. So that's how the market breaks out. The opportunity here is actually to expand the market, and the potential is to actually increase EBITDA to almost double by better understanding each process and providing equipment or products which decrease the total cost of ownership to the point that the customer is willing to pay more. But to do this, you really need a bottoms-up strategy. So what we're going to be doing is showing you a lot of different processes that you have to understand before you can determine how your product is going to have a lower total cost of ownership. You need very specific total market forecasts, total available market forecasts, and extensive niche forecasts. And it can't be the foundation of the business strategy. And customers are pursued based on their EBITDA ranking potential rather than on sales leads, because you do know who they are in advance. And you have to have extensive understanding of the customer's processes. You have to organize the available knowledge and leverage it. And you have to have competitive intelligence in order to show that your product is superior. The market splits between beverages and food, and the starting point really is to look at the total sales of these products worldwide, and then what percentage of them are represented by the cost of the pumps and valves and the other air, water, and energy equipment. So in something, for instance, beer, for an example, it's a $600 billion industry, and the growth rate 6%, and you do have the critical service, general and severe service, pumps, valves, and scrubbers, and so forth that are required. And it's a relatively high percentage of air, water, and energy equipment for beer sales. And the same thing would be true, for instance, for many of these other areas where, for instance, plant-based milk, which is a new milk products, which is a new category. It's a smaller category, only about a $23 billion market, but it would have a high percentage of air, water, and energy products. Bottled water, on the other hand, would not. It's a big market, 220 billion, but very little of it is actually in the air, water, and energy products. Wine, on the other hand, would be very, very substantial. So each one of these markets has to be analyzed in terms of where it's going and where it is and what all these processes are. And something like coffee and tea is actually the ready-to-drink RTD market has gotten to be very large here. Carbonated beverages, cider, hard seltzers, juices, plant-based beverages, still drinks, spirits, water, wine, and then going on to the food markets. And each one of these, like bakery, is a very a big market. On the other hand, the amount of air, water, and energy products is relatively low. You have some unique products like the odors that smell so good are actually being regulated, and they do have some volatile organic chemicals that need to be removed. So you've got air pollution control issues in bakeries that are unique. Confectionery has many different processes. Dairy is a very big opportunity. Frozen food, not so much, very low in terms of the penetration for air, water, energy. Meat replacement would be high, but you're only talking about a $5 billion market. So this is the way this all breaks out. And then we take each one of these industries, such as dairy, and we have a whole then separate section on dairy. When this one slide that we just showed you here is just the tip of the iceberg, because you've got yogurt, you've got cheese, and you've got all sorts of different dairy related products, which have to be evaluated. Flour is a substantial market. Food ingredients is an interesting market. Frozen food, fruits and vegetables, liquid foods, meat replacement. In a separate section, we have a whole process flow diagram showing that. Edible oils, there's sunflower, olive, coconut, soybean, and others, each of which needs its own analysis. Pasta is fairly significant. Pet foods, poultry, seafood, and meats is a huge market. Relatively small percentage of it is air, water, and energy products, but it's so big that in total it's a very large market for air, water, and energy. And then the growth aspects of seafood, for instance, with aquaculture and so forth, is changing. And so all that has to be undertaken. Snacks and breakfast cereals, sugar is a very big market for air, water, and energy. But you have to really divide it between sugar and sugar cane and beet, because sugar cane is a very large percentage of the total, but the big producers are in places like Brazil and India, rather than some of your major countries of the world in terms of total gross national product. Starch is another opportunity as well. So this is how the market all breaks out, and this is just the beginning of the analysis of the niches that a pump, valve, scrubber supplier, or dryer supplier needs to start with. But this is the start of the process, and in other webinars we're going into each one of these different segments of the food industry. So we thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon, and look forward to talking to you. This is Bob McIlvaine, and you can reach me here in Northfield, Illinois at 847-226-2391. And of course, our website has a lot of this information.